decrypt and encrypt, and not do any encryption.
Okay, so what are the functions that about this expect to do? It's just encrypt and encrypt, that's it?
No, I would just inherit encrypt the wrapper and override decrypt and encrypt.
Okay, but there are other functions that...
Alternatively, you can just do crypto, but just use a different key.
Alright, but I want to introduce them?
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yes, Rod 13. Well, no, it's still a yes. But you could use the empty key, the zero key. Sync actually supports different keys per selection.
Yeah, so if I press a zero key, I'll say yes or no.
Here.
The result is still free.
I don't know how. No, because it's AES-CBC, which XORs with the previous blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
No, you would still have to do AES. But okay, fair. Like if you want to get rid of that, if you want to get around that, yeah.
I just extend it around. Okay.
You might have to maybe also just using that.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. Today we have the winners of the Game On 2010 competition, all the way from Austria here, and so, which is in Europe.
No save.
Which is not Germany.
No save.
Yes. And so we're thrilled to have them here, and they won the best overall prize as well as the best webbiness prize in the Game On competition. So I'm going to introduce David Strauss. He's one of the, do you want to?
Yeah.
And David's going to basically be one of our presenters today, talking about the game and what they did to develop it. And if you want to just introduce the rest of your team members, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll start right off.
Okay.
So yeah, we're the MarbleRun team. And as Julie mentioned, we are from Europe. Europe is there, just in case. And we are a mix from Austria and Germany, but the university we're all studying is in Austria. Austria is pretty small, really small. And yeah, we have a nice castle, nice river. And that's the school, the university we are going to. It's in the middle of nowhere, so we kind of have to code. And yeah, there are two majors. The first is multimedia arts and multimedia technology. Multimedia technology is quite new. We are the second. There are guys before us, and we are the second. Well, and like the name says, a multimedia art is the part making the designs, and there are audio guys, web design guys, and 3D artists. And our multimedia technology, we have kind of a web part and a game part. The game part, they focus on C++, and in web we do actually Ruby on Rails on the server side and JavaScript for the client. And yeah, we have two guys from multimedia art and 3 MMT guys. And we like each other very much. And yeah, I will present the team. We go off with Matthias, and yeah, he's not here, but yeah, they are coming for the restroom. Then there is, yeah, that's me. And by the way, that's a sword, wood sword, and we played around quite a lot while developing. That's Martin. Eberhard, he's the only guy who is studying game. So usually he's coding C++, but we forced him to do JavaScript, and he did quite well. Yeah, Nicola, over there. And we are, I think, celebrating Christmas. Because you must know we had no holidays at all. We just worked. Sharing food. And now let's start how we actually came to Game On and doing the project. In university, we have to do a project every term to qualify yourself to proceed. And I think in September I read about Game On, and yeah, I told them, and we knew we had to do a project until January 2011. So we said, yeah, let's do that. And we kind of thought what to do, because a game that's a huge field. You can do everything. You can go from Farmville to a full-blown 3D shooter like Crysis. And yeah, so we started meeting quite a lot. We drank a lot, we ate a lot, and we talked. And one thing we really focused on is, what does everybody love? As a child, you always love building stuff. If you are in the sandbox, building castles, or doing a marble run with wood and real marbles. So quite fast we figured out building something, like playing with Lego. How do you call it in English? Lego? Lego, yeah. So yeah, we said we built something like that. Actually, that was while developing, so that in the beginning, a little fake. And yeah, so we brainstormed about what to do, and pretty fast we came up with no idea. So sitting there, what the hell should we do? Because it was not only the Game On challenge we had to. So Game On, it was a plus, but for university we had to come up with some kind of an idea, so there was kind of a little bit of pressure. And yeah, some strange equations. And actually, Urban is our fellow Austrian developer here. No, it's Ur is a pretty cool word in German, and Bahn is basically the part run. So MarbleRun is a barn. And yeah, then the first problem when we decided to make MarbleRun is, what bricks should we make? Because we knew we had to introduce some basic bricks, pretty easy to understand, one purpose, and then we need additional stuff to unlock. And yeah, Matthias will tell us something about the next process.
About next process. Okay, I gotta catch on. Yes, as I already mentioned, we spent a lot of time just working on concept. To be precise, we actually spent about 3 months thinking about what we should do, what kind of concept, what kind of game we could come up with, and the programming and designing happened 10 days to 2 weeks. So one of the main, about the core features we had to come up with is building a game that's not dependent on on levels we come up with, because everybody knows when we could probably come up with 30 levels or something, but once you played those, all those users will never come back. So we had to come up with a game that's supported by the users themselves. Like the more you play, the further you get. That was the concept basically. And yeah, then we spent a whole lot of time trying to figuring out how we could make this happen, how we can get users to be addicted to our game. How can we make them come back and still reduce it to the very minimum? Since we didn't have a lot of time, we knew we didn't have a lot of time for the programming, and we had all those crazy ideas about 50 different kind of bricks and like make the levels twice as long and put them all together and whatever. Multiplayer and it all, like all the stuff that's out there, but that wasn't really possible for us. So we stripped it down to like the very, very core features. And this is when we actually tried to, we were checking out if the game was even any fun at all by actually building a marble on paper. So we drew a grid on a piece of paper, and cut out about 50 little paper bricks, and just started putting it on the paper and trying out if it would be any fun to like build a track at all. And hold on, then we figured out it actually is. And this was about the time when we decided to go with the MarbleRun idea. And just 1 second. Ooh.
Firefox says sorry.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we created a little GIF. This is the very, very first MarbleRun ever.
That's normal.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
It's a little large for a GIF. So this is the first MarbleRun, and this was the time where we thought, okay, let's do this. And then came the easy part. Okay, what's next? Yeah, a few impressions, concept, design,
Yeah. So I'm talking for designers because they're a little bit afraid of you all. So many coders and developers. Yeah, the design. Actually, these 5 bricks are the basic bricks. We call it the ramp, the brick, the curve, the line and the kicker. Yeah, I've got a kicker actually. And the MarbleRun font is made by our designers, and it's only it consists of only the basic bricks actually. And yeah, I think you all know that. And you have to know our university is under construction at the moment. It's very loud, heavy machines everywhere, and so well the corporate identity of MarbleRun, the yellow, it was all inspired by the construction site actually. And also, yeah, a nice worker. And the font and, well, the details all come from the plans. They are hanging around the school. And that sign actually says, you better don't enter the construction site. If you do, your parents have to be punished. Quite a stupid sign, but they are everywhere. Yeah, they are everywhere in Germany and Austria, and we don't know really for what. And yeah, so we started coding. Eva had got ill before Christmas, so we knew we had to start on the, I think, 27th of December. And so yeah, you can guess we had about 2 weeks until the game on. And, oh god. Sorry about that. And we moved into Matthias' place because, yeah, we knew remote work wouldn't cut it in that particular situation. And yeah, so we started off. The developers in one room and the designers in the other room, only communicating by knocking on a wall. Quite fun, yeah? We didn't use Skype back then. And yeah, so we started rolling. And, oh, sorry. And then the big day, the announcement of MarbleRun. The whole day we just hit a 5 on the keyboard and refreshed the page, but nothing changed. Until in the evening we said, yeah, let's call it day. I finally pushed the last time a 5 and suddenly the page changed because the text said, yo, the winners are announced. And Hannah over there just put up the MacBook, surfed to game on, and suddenly you heard something, oh, and the MacBook was closed, and we turned around and said, so what's up? And we walked over and yeah, we saw this. And we were quite puzzled. Yeah, we really didn't think we can win this, so thanks. Whoever voted for us. And now is a little bit the nerdy part, because we didn't knew that only developers are here, so I think we can go on. And yeah, that's the winning photos. We trashed university at that particular evening, and my access card got blocked. Yeah, but we did that. And that's the entrance of the university, and we printed the MarbleRun.at logotype, and we put it up there. And the next day, the boss of the university arrived and just thought, "What the heck is that?" And he told the janitor to put it down. And actually, when we entered school, it was already gone. And about 2 hours later, an email arrived telling us, "Oh, congratulations for winning Game On, and sorry about the part putting down your stuff." And we thought, yeah, whatever. And they destroyed it. It was so beautiful, but too bad. And now we go to the coding part. Actually, the web part, we were told to do a project with Ruby and Rails. So he thought we would do a lot of stuff in Rails, and yeah, the project looks like that. JavaScript only, basically.
Okay, this is as Dave already said, what we did is, in my apartment, I actually live with 2 other guys who actually go to the same university but were in this project. But since it was Christmas break, they both went home, and we had to do this project in the next 2 weeks. So what I said is, they just come to my place, live in my place for the next 10 days, and live in their rooms. without permission, actually. But we thought he'd never find out. Yeah, so it was pretty coding 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but close to 27. What you see is like the commits, where most of the commits happened. We used Git, as you can see. We used GitHub and used Git as version controlling. And you see, in between, the only time we didn't code it, didn't push anything onto the server was in between 3 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning. So we got up at 9 o'clock in the morning, usually for a 20-minute run, and then straight to MarbleRun, all day long until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But 3 was probably the latest we ever worked. So it was a lot of crunch time. It was basically the whole project was crunch time. Prototype.js, yeah, just wanted to mention this was one of our first projects where we had really a lot of lines of JavaScript. And when it comes to JavaScript, you come to a point where you need to organize your JavaScript. And JavaScript itself doesn't come with a lot of features to organize it, as it's not object oriented. So we used Prototype, and it turned out to be, although it's one of the oldest JavaScript libraries I use or I know, it still worked out pretty fine, because all you actually need is to structure your JavaScript, and Prototype is just perfect for this. We tried to get our designers to even go a little bit into the technology we were using, but they didn't seem too much interested after all. Now we come to Canvas. You want to go? Ah! Stop!
Yeah, okay. So the computer graphics part is mainly addressed to me, because I am studying the game major in multimedia technology, and I have some experience in computer graphic. And yeah, meanwhile the project, I figured out I don't have any experience with Canvas and Context 2D. So it's not like in OpenGL you say GL clear and instantly all is cleared. No. The problem is actually clearing is very hard on the canvas. It's costly for the performance. I didn't knew that. And at the beginning of MarbleRun we had some problems regarding the performance. And I found a very helpful slide share from Ernesto Jimenez. I thanked him on Twitter, and he was very surprised that we actually won a Game On challenge with the knowledge from him. Yeah, we had some problems to find helpful tutorials. Basic tutorials are very many on the web. But regarding performance and accelerating the graphic part with Context 2D, you didn't find that much. Okay. Yeah. As I mentioned before, clearing is costly at the performance, and so you have to use this algorithm of dirty rectangles. So you have to know in which rectangles you have drawn something, and if this object changed its position, is animated, you have only to clear at this part in the next rendering step, and you don't have to clear the full canvas, because that would mean a lot more of calculation for the browser. Yeah. This was kind of funny. I implemented my clearing part, and then we tried it on his computer, and then he made a screenshot and titled it on our what was his blog? Tumblr blog with Epsi's new awesome clearing algorithm. Okay. Yeah. What was this about?
Actually, we thought about canvas is quite performance costly, so yeah, just use one canvas and you are pretty fine. And actually, it was the other way around. You better have different canvases. So we have the main grid where the action happens. Then we have in the background the invisible grid where we actually draw everything, and then we just copy it over to the displayed canvas we have canvas for the toolbox, the right side, where you have the bricks available. And yeah, that was one of the tips we read on the slideshow show, and we didn't knew about. And I think we wouldn't have tried it because we really thought one canvas is the best option. And yeah, that was wrong. And another part. So what do you think is this slide about? It's about boxing and pretty cool 2D games. As a physics engine, we used Box2D, and we had a fun time with Box2D because I think you know it was written in C++ or C. Then somebody ported it over to ActionScript for Flash, and then somebody came along and said, "Hey, yeah, let's do it for JavaScript." So once you start searching for Box2D in JavaScript, you find really, really a lot of results. But so what version do you take? Because none of them have any documentation. You go back to C++ and read about all the functions and objects, and then you go back to actually your version in JavaScript, open WebInspector or a Firebug, and you type in, oh, do we have this? Yeah, we have this. Let's try it. Yeah, but in the end, Box2D really helped us, and it pretty much did everything we needed to do. So we are really, really happy that we use it from a Swiss guy, and I think 2 years. And it was actually the best version for us. So yeah, thank you for listening, and thank you for doing Game On. It was really awesome for us. We're happy about it. And we have a little present for you, Pascal, and for Julie, because I heard you liked our helmet, our branded helmet. Yeah. So we have 2 of these. You can put them anywhere.
We will give them a good place in the
Yeah.
area. Good job, guys.
Does anyone have any questions they want to ask these guys?
I noticed in the pictures none of you were ever wearing hats, and several of you have hats now. Is this protection from California influence?
No, you must. Back home is really, really cold. Yeah, so we are just used to having stuff on our head.
Do you guys use multiple canvas layers over top of each other a lot, or really just kind of separate, drawing like a buffer canvas and then?
Mostly on top of each other. In code, it's one canvas. It's called the static canvas, where all the stuff that isn't animated is drawn. So the grid and the borders and the toolboxes. And then there's the dynamic canvas, which is also double buffered, where the ball and this hover overlay when you with the mouse over the grid.
That's
this gray overlay, and this is drawing the dynamic. And also when you drag a brick or when you rotate a brick, this fill animation is transferred to the dynamic canvas, and then when it's finished, add this that.
Oh,
yeah.
So as you're actually using this stuff practically, are there any pain points you hit that you would, I wish Firefox did this or that?
Because now's your chance.
As you are the Mozilla guys, we just look at Chrome because we had some funny stuff going on with Chrome. Actually, our design department just uses Mac, and we do use PC, and Eva is also on a Mac, and they made the background yellow, and it looked fine on Mac, but once we opened it in PC, the yellow was pretty screwed up.
Was it in Firefox?
Not in Firefox, it was in Chrome actually.
Yeah.
I think
we're not talking about bugs in Chrome.
Hey there, Firefox guys. So give them a laugh. Other pain points.
There's one thing I was wondering, but I don't know if this might actually come with the W3C standard, whatever, is that when you draw paths, that you need to use begin path to clear to clear everything, like to clear all the path again, so you don't have stuff double drawn. I figured this is, we found out about this, and we thought this is just a line that it's not very self-explanatory, and it's probably not, you didn't come up with this, but I thought this is one point where there's maybe a function missing to clearing all the not using begin path to clear the cache or whatever. And to clear the path stack. This is one thing. Other than that, but this is not really a bug in Firefox or nothing. It's just cross-browser thing that doesn't come to my mind as very self-explanatory. Other than that,
yeah, another thing. I think it was made the most significant pain point. Actually, I got the present JavaScript book you saw earlier. That one. Mag. Yeah, it's Mag.
yeah, this is
I got this book, and he was talking about a library. He wrote Cookie.js, which basically helps you managing cookies with JavaScript. And we use cookies to save what tracks you liked or flagged, so you don't have the button, but once you press it, nothing happens. And yeah, it was working perfectly fine. Actually, for the likes. And once I added the flags functionality, everything broke, and we didn't knew what the hell was going on. After 7 hours of looking for a mistake, which wasn't there, we found out the author of the book forgot one character in the source code. Because he put together the cookie string with separated by a space and a comma, and he split them up only by a comma. So after the first entry, you have another key. And that's also I think a bug in Web Inspector and Firebug, because they show you in a hash the keys without the space. So you check everything, and you know the keys in the cookie look like ABC, and once you get them out in the hash, the key is also ABC, but actually the key is space ABC, so nothing works. And after 7 hours we found out that we wrote him and he was quite happy. I think that was the most significant point where we just threw out our hair and thought, what the hell is going on?
I noticed you guys have ARC with question mark there. What sort of documentation stuff did you run into? I know the ARC 2 doesn't exist, but it takes it takes about an hour to figure out that you can't do ARC 2 in Canvas and stuff like that. Are there any other unique issues you guys have with documentation, or where it could be better, or where it's awesome?
actually, I don't recall it right now, but I think when it comes to using patterns in Canvas, the documentation is also real little, I think, because it is there, just like ARC, but it's not very explanatory. But I really don't want to mark on the documentation at all, since you guys already have the best. If it's written down somewhere, go to MDC. But sometimes it's still you have a pretty hard time figuring out what function works what way. Yeah. So I think the documentation will be the first thing.
And what parameter is for what?
Yeah. Parameter list and so.
I think with Promote.js, they do a great job, because once you know that the Mozilla Development Center is quite the best place, you know where to look, but some stuff is still pretty hard to find. And I think once you figure out it is there, it's not that bad, but for a completely new developer, he's just using Google and he searches and he just stumbles over basic tutorials where stuff like the multiple canvas stuff isn't told, so he's pretty screwed. I think we had another question over there.
Yeah, just elaborating on the thing you guys were talking about earlier. In terms of debugging and profiling, you said you had some performance issues and you found out about tips basically on Twitter. But did you guys ever do any profiling yourself? And if so, how? What were your lessons learned there? Profiling and debugging.
Yeah,
I think we had, at first we were pretty much a console.log generation.
Okay.
But when it came to the performance things, it was quite figuring out in our brains what should take the most time, and then just trying it out and getting a feeling for it. We played the game, I think, the 10 days through, and we pretty much knew something changed in the last hour. So yeah, that was kind of our debugging. Profiling really where the stuff happens. We use the profiling tools from Firebug and the Web Inspector. But the problem with Box2D is you just see, okay, that's Box2D stuff, and you don't touch that. And yeah, basically, we knew that the canvas is the slowest, because we had, I think, 20% is used by Box2D, then some UI stuff, like 1.2%, and all the rest, it was just our drawing functions.
But the existing tools were satisfactory in that case for you?
Well, the only thing we added is to check the frame rate. We used a little plugin tool by Mr. Do. But that's like the only thing.
What was it called?
Mr. Do.
Display stats.
I think stats.gs. It's
it's when you go on Mr. Doop site.
Mr. Do.com or GitHub. And there's also a fork which is working now without the canvas, so you can use it also.
This is pretty neat. This you bookmark it and use it on every side. Probably frame rate is the only thing missing, but.
Yeah.
I think there's an event now you can listen to get the frame rate.
Well, and Patrick's doing work on dynamic frame rate monitoring.
Right.
So we might actually even be able to hook you up with some new libraries then.
Yeah. Other than that, it was just trial and error a lot, because it also varies between different browsers. But like we were developing, for instance, you were working on one thing in Firefox, and then you got it done, you have really nice performance, and then of course you check it in several other browsers, and you see sometimes it gets better there, or it gets even worse. You fix one thing for one browser and you make it even worse in the other one. So it was just finding your own path. But there was like nothing very significant that we came up with as a solution for something. It was trial and error all the way, yes.
Cool. Thanks.
Any other questions?
What's next for MarbleRun? So what do you do with this thing now?
Monetize.
Yeah. Actually, another fun story. Another fun story. Some newspapers, local newspapers, called us, and I gave an interview, and I only said, we can imagine to make somewhere in the future an iPad version. And they just took the sentence and actually on the webpage it said, yeah, they're working on an iPad version. Yeah. Actually, they didn't even knew about the interview I gave, and on the next day they were coming up, so, hey David, we're making an iPad version. And I said, yeah. So, since we do have also mobile applications on the university, and we have to do an iOS application, we have one in the make, but we are thinking about skipping it and starting over with MarbleRun. But we don't know yet if we can pull it off in one term, because we have to finish it in, I think, the end of May. So maybe version for the iPad. And on the webpage, new special bricks. And
on the webpage we don't have too many changes planned for right now. It's like constant progress. We try to spend as much time as possible on MarbleRun, but since we go to school still, there's not too much time. We have different projects. But for the website, I guess, to be honest, no huge changes in the near future. A few bug fixes. Yes, there are bugs. A little tweak here and there to make maybe for the interface and a little checkup, but that's probably about it for the next months or so. Yes.
One thing we do want to do is, since we didn't think we can win game on, we just made a game, and now we figured out we have so much content and things to share, we maybe need something like a construction site, which is basically just information, pictures, slideshows, and a documentation about our trip to you, how awesome it was. And so we are just thinking how we can integrate this, maybe somewhere at a button, and then you go to another page where stuff is. And
donations, maybe.
Yeah, donations, no. And maybe we have to we have to add the trophy. The trophy we have to add it. It's quite embarrassing. We didn't do it until now. Well. Any other questions? Dan, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have you heard of JSON Web Tokens? JSON what? JSON Web Tokens? It's a way to sign in JSON Web.
Oh, so these are in an old version.
When it was designed for the receiver to verify.
Right.
So basically, you just base64 encode a description of your
Yeah.
base64 encode